Good morning, everybody. Today's virtue for the day is the elusive concept of surrender. You know, surrender is talked about a lot in spiritual circles, and it's a difficult concept to kind of understand. And so I also think about it as letting go. But even still, it's one thing to say, oh, you got to surrender, you got to let go. It's another thing to say, well, how do I do that? And so as I continue to work myself out of a job, I continue to teach people how to let go of their suffering so that they don't need psychotherapy. So here's another psychotherapy tool that is about letting go, and a little bit of an intro as to why it works, okay? So surrender, what surrender really means, what letting go really means, is letting go of what my teacher would call the mental emotional fictions, or the stories that keep us stuck in suffering. Remember, now we've talked about the brain, and we've talked about we have the thinking part of the brain, we have the emotional part of the brain, we have the instinctual part of the brain. Well, when we're in surviving mode, when we're in suffering mode, when we're upset, we're lighting up the emotional and the instinctual parts of the brain, the lower parts of the brain. And that is where kind of the trouble exists. So that is where we need to work. That's where we need to work in order to resolve or let go of that trouble. Now, as long as we're generating a story, as long as we can keep going over and over and over again about the reasons why we're upset, again, as I've mentioned in the past, even if they're valid, even if they're accurate, even if we're right, as long as we keep generating the story, we're going to remain in a state of upset, we're going to remain in a state of suffering, and we're also not going to be able to have the health and the vitality and the creative thinking and the resources that we want to actually deal with that problem if there is one. So we need to get into the lower parts of the brain in order to actually affect real change. And so surrendering and letting go is actually surrendering the story and then getting into the parts of the brain that are able to resolve the issue, okay? And the way we do that is a couple ways, but one, as we've talked about in the past, I'm going to layer some things. We've talked about in the past getting into your physical sensations in your body, because this part of your brain is more associated with the physical sensations of your body, and using your breath, because this part of the brain is more associated with your breath. But now we're going to give the thinking brain some cues. We're going to give the thinking brain some cues in order to kind of keep it busy. And not only keep it busy, but we're also going to give it cues to get it into a state of yes. A state of yes. And a state of yes is a state of openness. And when we're open, things can flow through us, and things can release, and things can let go. And so it looks a little bit like this, okay? I'm just gonna walk you through it with a little bit of an explanation, okay? So I'm gonna have an upset. There's gonna be a story, there's gonna be reasons, they might be justified, they might be valid, and then I'm gonna have this upset, and then I'm gonna say to myself, okay, I'm gonna remember what we've learned already, that I need to get into the sensations in my body, I need to get into the breath, and so I'm gonna notice this upset, and then I'm gonna say, am I willing to feel it? Okay? That's the first question that is going to start getting my brain saying yes. Am I willing to feel it? And then I feel, and when I say feel it, I mean feeling the sensations in my body. Am I willing to feel it? Even if it's uncomfortable? And then the next question is, would I let it go if I could? And again, this is a question that is going to get your brain to say yes, because of course you would let it go if you could. So again, we're getting our brain revved up into a state of yes, or actually calming down into a state of yes, into a state of openness. And remember, if you watched the video yesterday about the real story behind anxiety, depression, and anger, And the surviving mode and the thriving mode of the nervous systems, well, the thriving mode is a state of openness. So we're kind of cajoling our brain into getting into a state of openness. So first question, am I willing to feel it? Yes. And then this is going to go on internally. Am I willing to, would I let it go if I could? Yes. Would I let it go if I knew it was good for me? Yes. Am I willing to let it go? Now, when? Okay? So, along the way, there may be objections. There may be no. There may be absolutely not. I need this. It's who I am. It's part of me. That's okay. Don't get in an argument. Don't get in an argument with the objections that arise. Again, that's coming back up to the thinking part of the brain, and that's reinitiating the stories that are going to keep us stuck in the state of upset. But just keep running through the process. Just keep running through the process as you keep doing the body sensations and the slowing of your breath and the extension of your exhale, as we've talked about. Again, we're layering things here, so if all these cues don't make sense, you should go back and watch videos, okay? Because we're layering things here. But again, it looks like this. I have a story, I have a reason why I'm upset, I'm willing to dissociate from that story, and I say, am I willing to feel it? I breathe in. Am I willing to feel it? I notice in my body the physical tensions, the sensations. Would I let it go if I could? Would I let it go if I knew it was good for me? Am I willing to let it go? When? Exhale. So as you get more well-versed in holding your breath, again, without struggle and without strain, that can really help. I can ask all of these questions. As I ask the first question on the inhale, I ask the remaining question, I ask the next 3 questions on the exhale, and then with the when question, I exhale. Excuse me. So I don't know if I just said that correctly, but here it is. Inhale. Am I willing to feel it? Hold. Would I let it go if I could? Would I let it go if I knew it was good for me? Am I willing to let it go? When? So you can do it that way, or you can just do it with, am I willing to feel it? Would I let it go if I could? Would I let it go if I knew it was good for me? And you don't have to do it with the holding the breath. But then if you want to amp it up, you can do it with the holding the breath, okay? And then eventually, if you keep sticking with the process, and maybe say perhaps you get to the third or the fourth question and it's, am I willing to let it go? Am I willing to surrender? Am I willing to let it go? And there's a big no. Well, that's okay. Because then you just bump it right back up to, am I willing to feel it? And then you just go right through the process again. And eventually, if you keep clearing out and accepting and welcoming, am I willing to, if the answer is no, I'm pissed about that, or I hate that, no, or I feel that feels unsafe. Okay, am I willing to feel that? Am I willing to welcome that? Am I willing to host that? Am I willing to love that? And then we start back up at the top, and then we ask the questions again, and then we go down. But eventually, on any given upset situation, you're going to go from, and you're going to end up having answers to those questions being yes, 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 now. And you're going to feel clear, and you're going to feel open, and you're going to feel spaciousness, and the thriving part of your nervous system is going to be on, and you're going to have an experiential understanding of what it means to surrender, to let go. So, again, one more time running through. Imagine yourself, let's do it right now. Imagine yourself that you have some situation that you're upset by, or that you typically get upset by. You see that situation, you have pictures of it, you have images of it, maybe it's starting to bring up physical sensations, it's starting to change your physiology. And then you ask yourself, Am I willing to feel it? And now feel into your body. Where do you feel it? Where do you notice it? Would I let it go if I could? Would I let it go if I knew it was good for me? Am I willing to let it go? When? Again, seeing what other sensations are in there, seeing what sensations, maybe there's still some tension. You want to feel totally loose. You want to keep going until you feel loose and you feel good. You literally feel good. If you keep doing this, you will literally get to a place where you feel good. Not just like, it's pleasurable when we're in the thriving part of our nervous system. There's an innate pleasure that we awaken to, okay? And so again, we go back up. Am I willing to feel it? Now this time I'm going to do it with holding my breath. Am I willing to feel it? I'm going to hold. Would I let it go if I could? Would I let it go if I knew it was good for me? Am I willing to let it go? When? Exhale. Keep going until you get yes, 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 no, but they have to be authentic. Don't force it. It's okay if you get no's. It's okay if you get objections. Just welcome those, feel them, go through the process, release them, associate releasing with the exhale. Remember what we've learned in the past about lengthening the exhale, and you have another psychotherapy tool that will keep you out of psychotherapy. Love you all. Have a great day.